Hello, my friends. So, in one of the earlier lessons, we talked about generating a greater flow through the practice of forgiving and letting go. And when I talk about the flow, I mean the divine flow of life. It's the flow of abundance, it's the flow of prosperity, wealth, health, love, joy, synchronicities, and good breaks. When I talk about the flow is when you're in the flow, you know it. Everything happens with ease. Everything happens effortlessly, right? And I truly believe that it is our birthright to always be in the flow. And I bet you can name a few instances in your life when you knew you were in the flow. Everything happens is just with so much ease. The right people show up in your life at just the correct timing. You know, it feels amazing when you're in the flow. So this week, today, I'm going to talk to you about generating a greater flow through the practice of authentic giving. Yes, the practice of authentic giving, giving joyously, giving wholeheartedly, giving with so much pleasure, turns on one of the most powerful universal law, the law of circulation. When you give joyously from your heart, you automatically turn on receiving. When I talk about giving, I mean like giving into the field, as in giving into the quantum field, and trust that the field will always deliver something beyond your wildest dreams in return. So you don't just give to the person, you don't just give to the cause, you give as into something bigger than you. And when you give joyously from your heart into the field, because of the law of circulation, you know you're going to receive something so much more, so much bigger. Not even tenfold. It's going to be receiving beyond your wildest dreams. But before we go there, let me talk about different levels of giving, so to speak. So the first level of giving is give to get. I mean, we've all done that, right? You give something while you're focusing on getting something in return. And it can be as simple as when you give something and you expect a thank you in return, and when the person doesn't say thank you, you kind of get upset. You know what I'm talking about? It can be as trivial as that. So giving to get is when you're focusing on getting something back. Another form of giving is giving with strings attached. You know, I've done that myself, especially with my kids, you know, like, I'll buy you whatever it is that you want, but in return, I expect you to clean your room and do your homework. You know, it's like a little silly. It may seem like very innocent. And at the same time, giving with strings attached is when you give expecting something in return. And that's not the type of giving that turns on the law of circulation. That's not the type of giving that will ensure you receiving so much more in return. That kind of giving, it's called give to live, or the secret of living is giving. Is when you give wholeheartedly, joyously, from deep in your soul, and you give as a gift to yourself. Do you know what I mean? You just give for the pleasure of giving. And when you give like that, that's when the law of circulation turns on. That's when the universe gives you so much more back in return. That's when you step into the flow. That's when you step into the divine flow of life, the flow of synchronicity, abundance, wealth, prosperity. The law of circulation is working at that point. And traditionally, you know, I just want to give you some ideas of how can you give more. And traditionally, you know, we talk about tithing, giving 10% of your money, giving 10% of your time, giving 10% of your talent. And even if you say to me, oh, I don't have much money right now, you can still give. And here are a few ways, creative ways that you can start giving joyously and from your heart, and you start stepping into that abundant flow of life, the flow of synchronicity, prosperity, wealth, money, good luck, and good breaks. So one of the things that you can give is give your time. Spend time with people who need extra love, right? You can give them not only your time, you can give them your attention, your energy, you can give them your love. You can give your time, your energy, your love, your talent through volunteering. Go and help somewhere and someone. You can give your talent away. So I love doing that. Like, all these manifestation tools, the knowledge that I've acquired over the last 10 plus years of running a hugely successful business, yoga business, I love sharing that knowledge with others. And a lot of times I'll just give people, advice, even if they don't ask me. And a lot of times I have to catch myself because I don't want to lecture people. At the same time, it gives me so much tremendous pleasure to help and be of contribution to people who can use my help. You can give in the form of compliment, right? You can just smile at somebody, and it seems like it's such a small thing, and yet it is a form of giving. You give because it gives you pleasure. You give because it gives you joy. Are you following me? And when you give into the field, right? You don't give just one particular person. You don't give to a cause. Think of it, expand your understanding of giving as in giving into the field, the quantum field. And that quantum field is everything. It's that energy that everything is made out of. It's the energy that we're a part of that surrounds us all at all times. You give into the field. You give with joy. You give with pleasure. You give from deep, deep in your heart. Let me explain a little bit deeper the law of circulation. So right now, only inhale. Inhale, inhale, continue inhaling. Inhale a little bit more, inhale more. At some point, you will have to exhale, right? You cannot only inhale, inhale, inhale. That's not your nature. That's not the way you were made. If you continue inhaling, you will probably pass out. So the law of circulation works in a similar way. You can't only get. You can't get. You can't only focus on getting. You have to give. In order for you to get, you have to give. That's the law of circulation. And it is a powerful universal law. It's like your breath. You inhale and you exhale. You inhale and you exhale. That's the law of circulation. Think of your breathing as the law of circulation. You give and you receive. You give and you receive. And that's so beautiful. It's so powerful. It's so magnificent. It's so miraculous. And the last thing that I want to talk to you today is about this famous quote from Napoleon Hill. If you've never read his book, Think and Grow Rich, I highly recommend it. I've probably read it, 5, 7, 10 times. I read it periodically every 6 months or so. But anyway, Napoleon Hill talks about compensation. And the language is a little bit archaic, but at the same time, it's really cool. The concepts that he talks about are really cool. So he talks about this formula for abundant and generous compensation. Q1 plus Q2 plus MA equals your compensation. So Q1 stands for quality of service rendered. So the quality of the service you provide. Q2 stands for the quantity of service rendered, so how much of it you give. MA means mental attitude. What kind of attitude you show up to work with, or what kind of attitude you show up when you give something. That equals your compensation, or what is it that you're going to receive in return. And you can apply it to anything. If you are employed right now by somebody else, the quantity and the quality of the work that you do, plus your mental attitude, determines how much compensation you receive and how quickly you get promoted and, be moved to other areas of your company where you want to go, where you want to be. And being an employer for the last 12 plus years, I'll tell you, like when I interact with my employees, even if they do a great job, even if they do, if they work a lot, that mental attitude part is super important. It's really difficult for me to promote somebody and give them a raise when their attitude is really bad, because that attitude, your attitude, our attitude determines everything. And one person with a really crappy attitude can completely destroy the entire team. The morale of the company is just completely derailed where you're going as a business organization, as a leader. So the gift from Napoleon Hill: the quantity of service rendered plus the quality, right? The higher the quality, the higher is the compensation, plus your mental attitude. When you have a really great positive attitude, the attitude of, yes, I can do this, nothing can stop me, there is always a solution, equals your compensation. I love you. Have fun with it. My sincerest wish for you is to step into the flow. Turn on the law of circulation and then watch in awe how your financial reality, how your time and financial freedom show up in your life.